The most underrated habit that I've found is really reviewing your data. Diversity and health equity are big, big pieces and passions of mine. I just had to learn how to listen to my body and know that I know my body best. And just because other people are doing something doesn't mean that I can do it.
This kind of brings me into segment number 2. We're talking about the lifestyle, like the stress, the sleep, and the activity that you do. Because you said you played sports and stuff. And so how did that like make an impact? Like how do you manage the sleep and the stress, and how does it affect you with your diabetes?
Oh, stress is not my friend. Stress is not my friend, and it does so much, especially when I was in school. I've been to school way too many times, and it was one of those things like I'm taking an exam and my blood sugar would just be 300 because I'm stressed or in the middle of it. And I'm like, I can't read straight. I can't do these things. And I had to find a way. I had to learn about testing accommodations. I had to learn that, hey, like sometimes this is what happens with my body, or there's a lot of other things where I didn't get sleep because I'm in a dorm and everyone's loud, or I was low
Mhm.
6 times in the night and I couldn't sleep. I have a full night before an exam. Like that was just life, and I had to push through it. But those are real things that happen every day. I still deal with that today as a like working professional. Some nights it's like, yes, I might have a 6 a.m. meeting, but I might have got 3 hours of sleep, not because I was doing anything fun. It was because I was having a bad blood sugar.
Stress.
And the stress on top of
That's
that just goes a long way. And it's just, you never know what it is. It's like I could be completely off whack and have done everything right, everything by the book. And once I got
mm,
to the point where I accepted that, it's like, hey, even though you can do this right, like that's the whole point. Doing it right doesn't mean that you're replacing your pancreas, doesn't mean that you're having a
yeah.
fully functioning body. I don't. That's why I have this disease, and it's okay. I had to just get to the point where I just accepted it, not allow the diabetes itself to stress me more than life already stresses me enough.
So how do you like calm yourself down with the stress? Like how what are you have any
Yes.
tactics or?
My biggest stress reliever is walking. Walking is like
Okay.
my secret superpower. I love to go for walks. One, because it allows my brain to be at ease, allows me to think. It allows my body to actually release the dopamine, and I feel much better when I'm walking. But just walking when I'm super stressed, it could even be like in a circle or outside. I make sure I
Mm,
prioritize walking, and that's very important. There's three things that I do every day, regardless where I'm at. I think routine is very, very important, especially when you're living with diabetes. But I
mhm.
walk, I do some type of stretching and yoga, and I will journal. Those are my three holistic things, because without those every day, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I can do those. Like that's a little bit of control that I can have in my life, but it's allowing me to feel my body, my mind, and to make sure that I'm functioning at my best level for that day.
Nice. Even as a fitness trainer, these are things that I tell my clients to do, like walk. If
Mhm.
you can do anything else, just go out. I just need you to get like 10,000 steps a day. Like, and it's amazing how like you relate it to stress. It's the same thing with fitness. It just all interacts with each other.
Mhm. It is my biggest
Um,
way to just get out of my own way, get in, like, let myself be. Let me sit with my thoughts. Like, I don't walk with music. You can. It's fun, but it's like, no,
mm-mm.
I don't have the stress of the numbers, I don't have the stress of the work. I just like get out, walk as much as I can, and I just feel better. And I've been doing that for maybe 10 years straight where I'm walking every day. Marathon
Yeah.
training was the first time where it was like, I can't go on these long walks like I wanted to.
No.
No, not as much, but
No.
it was a little bit different, but it's just been a big practice of mine that I do. And I also encourage others in the community to do as well.
So with you doing this, you just completed a marathon, right? So how difficult was that training for a marathon, because it's physically taxing on the body? Like, did you get better sleep? Did it make you more stressful or what?
It was a journey. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not a runner. That I just tell people this, like
Mm,
I was a sprinter in high school. I could sprint like a 100 or
yeah,
a 4x1, but long distance running is a completely different sport. And
it's
it
mental.
was It was mental. I physically was different, even though I'm athletic. I love to be as fit as I can. It was just different. But
Yeah.
I had to learn how to manage my diabetes completely in a completely different way for the first time in a long time. I had to manage, how do I fuel my body in a different way? How do I administer my insulin differently? How do I carry so many things? How am I prepared to not go low? Or to not be too high. Because typically when I'm playing basketball or volleyball, my blood sugar runs higher because of adrenaline. When I'm doing long distance, no,
Mm-hmm.
not at all. It goes much lower. And
Crash.
it just
Yeah.
I had to rewire my brain into doing this. And then I also had to push myself to do this because I had never even ran a 5K before I started training.
What?
Yes, this is might have been one of the wildest things I've done, and I got my
Yeah.
mom involved in this too. My mom ran the marathon with me, just
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's awesome.
my why behind this was I'm raising awareness about diabetes and I'm raising funds for diabetes because that's really the community. This is what I'm doing to support. But every time I was out there, I was like, I must really love this community because I do not love running and I don't know what I'm doing. Or I would have a bad run where I'm just low, 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 low. And, or my body gives out because I get an injury or something. And I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. Like, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not doing this to win the race. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this to win the race. I'm
Yeah.
doing this to show that I can do this. And as diabetic, we can do hard things and we can thrive with whatever we're given. And there is a bigger purpose than just having diabetes. And it did teach me how to change, how to adjust, how to review. I had to get back to some of the foundational pieces of diabetes I don't always
Mm.
go to every day. But it kind of was a new journey from mental and physical and diabetes as well, because it was, hey, this is my new body. This is how it's operating today. And this is how it's operating for the next 4 months. And I have to get on board and make sure I'm taking care of it through sleep and nutrition and hydration. Um, it's very, very different,
Mm.
but I had to find a rhythm and work with my providers to get the right things in place.
Yeah, so finding your rhythm. Let's talk a little bit more about the technology that you use. I know you use a CGM. Like, did that really become like your reliable piece of technology to rely on?
It did. So my CGM, I'm very unique when it comes to CGMs because I work with a lot of
Mm.
diabetics and I ask them, they're like, oh no, I check my blood sugar all the time because I can see it. I don't. That
Mm.
thing, it alerts me. So it literally tells me when to tap into my diabetes. I trust it. I mean, tech fails, but when I get an little
Yeah.
alert telling me something's done, that's when I take action. I'm not sitting here just waiting for something to happen. I'm just like, okay, I got an alert. I'm going to handle it then. But it allowed me to focus on my training in a completely different way because I'm
Yeah.
not sitting here worried about, am I low? Am I high? I was like, how do I feel right now? Am I able to push this? And oh, something's happening or it might happen soon. I need to take action now. And I've been living like that with diabetes for a while since I've had this technology. But until
Mm.
I really put myself in this new challenge of running, it was like I really, really do trust this. I really am allowing myself to be more of a human rather than just a diabetic because I have this tech to support me.
Yeah, so from like people who have gotten diagnosed with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, like you highly recommend them getting the CGM, right?
I do recommend a CGM. I'm sitting here, I was like, how did I do diabetes for so long without it? Because when CGMs
Yeah.
first came out, I was anti them. Well, I didn't fully
Mm.
understand what it was and the power of it because it to me it's like, oh, I can see my diabetes for the first time. I can see things in real
Mm.
time. And it's really, really cool and it makes me make informed decisions on my health instantly. But at first, I didn't understand that. I just saw it as something else I needed to wear, something else I needed to purchase. And I was like, I didn't
Mm.
even want to wear anything in the first place. Why would I want anything else? But now that I understand it and understand the science behind
Mm-hmm.
it and understand how it can help me be proactive and make decisions then that are best for my health in that moment rather than, oh, I checked my glucose levels and I'm going to need to check it again in 20 minutes just so I can know how it impacted me. No, I'm like, nope, I'm working out and I'm going to be like this on a graph, or I might be like this, and this is that. Or I'm going to have something that is really sweet that I enjoy, that I don't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
that often.
yeah.
And I'm going to see how it impacts my body to see, okay, did I do too much insulin? Did I not? Or did I feel really bad after? And I also track that stuff. I write it down in my journal. I review my stuff every day. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like I can do these things. I can see my diabetes, but it's not just seeing, it's like I can act on my diabetes in an informed way that's
Yeah.
custom towards me.
Yeah. It just paints a bigger picture.
Hmm.
Like even with your sleep and stuff, like, okay, why am I feeling this? Like it's just a great piece of technology in my opinion for
Hmm.
those who have this. Um, yeah, the big picture, like you said, and I know it helped you with your training and stuff.
Yeah, and it helps me every day. Like if I had to, every year I take a like a detox, best way to put it, where I go no tech, no tech. I just want to make sure that I can do the
Mm-hmm.
foundational pieces of diabetes because the tech is a luxury. It's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can have it, and I never
Mm-hmm.
know if I'm ever going to be in those situations. So I want to make sure that I know how to
Mm.
manage my disease that I'm living with just the basics. So that's a finger stick. That's drawing out my needles, poking them in, and just making sure that I can live a healthy life and live my best life with regardless of the tech. Tech to me is a luxury. I love it, but I also know
Yeah.
that it might not always be there or it might fail. It's going to fail. I guarantee you,
Yeah.
tech is going to fail, and
Yeah.
you still need to be prepared to take care of yourself without the tech. But if you can access a tech and have it, do it. It'll make your life a little bit easier. It'll like make you make less decisions on diabetes, or like make you make informed decisions on your diabetes. You can take a step. It's giving yourself a little bit of a break.
Yeah. So I hear you talking about the basics. Can you elaborate a little bit more on like your basics of monitoring?
So the basics come down to glucose reading. So that's traditionally just a finger stick or finger poke where you're just drawing a little blot of blood, putting it into a meter and reading it. And that's really checking your actual blood levels. And then insulin, depending on how you take it for type 1 or type 2, it could be a pill or it could be the liquid insulin, and it comes in many forms. That could be, I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
type 2 it's really the pill, or you can have the liquid, but it could be a liquid in a vial or liquid in a dial up pen, or one where you have to draw your own needles or pre-filled needles. It just depends. Or it could be an insulin pump. But the basics are really just, for me, I go back to just pen and poking.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can do that, you have to do math because the tech does the math for you. And
Yeah. 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 Get lazy.
when I was younger, I could do this with my eyes closed. I could sit there and be like, oh, that was 35 carbs. This is my insulin to carb ratio. This is my correction factor.
Wow.
Boom, boom, boom. Now I don't
Yeah.
have to do that at all. And that's why I kind of take these breaks so that I can remember how to do these. Because if it fails and you don't even
Mm-hmm.
know what your insulin to carb ratio is, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I just try to do it. I
That's
review it every month just to make sure I even know it. Because if I'm in a situation, or let's say you get in an accident or something, and someone asks you, "Hey," or it's helpful. It's just helpful to know these things.
And this month, Heald is doing a special campaign. The special campaign is to celebrate this festive season of the gift of good health from Heald. This holiday season, take care of your health or gift your loved ones a program to reverse diabetes and lose weight. Use the code HEALEDXmas to get 10% off.